And I pass the word now to Karolis.
Thank you, Stefania. And thanks to everyone for coming to this beautiful place. I mean, I love that we have this place in Vilnius now and that we are all here in this summery evening. Thanks to XYZ Collective for their art installation. And yes, before big event tomorrow, today we're gonna have a little talk about art. We're not gonna actually experience art. We're gonna talk about art, which is also important. And I know that your company is known to some people here. For some of you, you are new people, new names, and that's part of the reason what we are doing here. We, as a journalist, I really believe in the idea of Vilnius being this meeting point of people from everywhere who can make their homes here, who can create what they want to create here, who can feel safe here. And I hope that we can all build this city together. So maybe we can at first hear briefly about yourselves. What brought you to Vilnius? And also, as a young artist, what do you create? Katya, I want to start from you. Let's check if that microphone is working. From
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From the description that I have, it says that Katya is an abstract painter and graphic artist who likes bright colors and meanings. And in your Instagram, we can see a lot of your work that is very colorful, very playful, very moving. I wish we could check it now, but can we hear from you, Katya? What is your artist journey, and what is your journey to Vilnius from Ukraine?
Okay, thank you. My name is Katya. My surname is Kononenko. I'm from Ukraine, and I'm in Lithuania, and yes, in Lithuania because of art. Because when the war started, first few weeks I've been in Kyiv, but then I decided that I can't be in Kyiv, and decided how I can move, but not just move like just a refugee, but with some idea and some meanings. And in this case, art very helped me, because I started search how art community, like global art community, can help Ukrainian artists, and I found, I don't know, maybe hundreds opportunities, and there was so hard to choose something. So I decided to choose some country not so far from Ukraine, and I sent a few letters. And the first one, from which country I received, the answer was Lithuania. That's why I'm here. But my first journey was to Druskininkai, and I spent there for 1 year. But then I felt that this town is too small for me, and I can find so much opportunities how to grow like a person, like an artist. So I decided to move to Vilnius, and now I live here for 1 year. So this is my journey, and art helps me to relocate it. Art helps me to not to drive me crazy of adaptation and things about thoughts about war and emotions. So in this case, art for me is an art therapy. So I, when I do art, when I in this process, I feel that it helps me to not only show emotions, but like to live these emotions, to live and live it after that. And that's why they are so bright, because color help me, and color also can help and show these different kind of emotions that I feel because of these topics that I mentioned before, and show how looks like my feelings, and show to visitor to some exhibition or just to come in my Instagram, how it feel, my individual feelings about all these harmful things, and so art for me, like maybe the best therapy and the best way that helps me to move from war to safe place. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Katya Kononenko, if that's what you should be looking for, if you want to find your work on Instagram. Kadhimas Al-Farttoosi is with us, and Kadhim, I feel like a lot of people here already heard your music at some point. You play oud, the instrument. You became like an ambassador of this instrument in Vilnius, and it's a very beautiful experience. And curious, where are you at in your Vilnius experience as a musician, as an artist? Because you started a bit earlier than Katya, as far as I understand.
Hello everyone, I'm Kadhimas Al-Farttoosi. I'm from Iraq, a refugee from Iraq. So, well, the first official performance was last year during the...
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
During the eve of World Refugee Day. It was in the National Art Gallery, so it was a good start, yeah, for me.
I remember that. We were there. A lot of people, I think, from here. It was beautiful.
I'm seeing like people again from last event, and that's great. So, like I would like to say that for me, music is all about. When I came to Vilnius, I had this, what would I call, is like identity crisis. And the only thing that kept me like going, like, I don't know, brought me back to my origins is through music. So like performing music is, it's more about trying to build connections with like local artists, like trying to present a better image of like of refugees. Like we're not, I don't know, agents of Lukashenko, as were like politicians saying, or like we are normal people. We have our goals. We have our dreams. We are artists. We are musicians. Yeah. So.
And oud is an instrument that you can compare it to guitar, maybe, but that would be a very broad comparison.
That would be, I mean, I would consider this a little bit offensive, because oud is oud is a very ancient instrument.
We should
like,
compare guitar with oud.
And guitar is like, the guitar, the lute, are all ancestors of the oud. Well, it's not like, like as it is now, but the principle, the oud, like in principle, it dates back to Mesopotamia, like 3,000 years ago. So like almost all stringed instruments like guitar, mandolin are from this instrument that were like it like how to say it found its way to Andalusia and then to Europe, and yeah.
And how it found a way to your hands and to your home while you went. How did you start playing oud?
Well, it would be, I mean, it would be, it might sound a strange story, but I'm so fond of Albert Einstein, the physicist. And when I learned that he plays violin, and that was in 2017, I just went, I bought my first instrument, and it was violin, and I started listening to Western classical music, and then like gradually, I don't know, I figured out about my the oud, and like in 2019, and I have been playing oud ever since, trying to learn every day, trying to. I had some interruption because of the refugee experience coming to Lithuania, and because of Corona as well at that time. So, but the last year was like, it was, how to say, the start of my performances. I got into a musical school online because like there are no teachers for this instrument in Lithuania. I'm one of a kind.
And how did you get the instrument in Lithuania?
The one that I have, the first one was in Iraq, but I had my parents ship it to Lithuania. But it was not, how to say, it was not a good instrument for like performing. It was a cheap instrument. But the one that I played during the performance on the opening of the Refugee Week, it was specifically made for me. It is an expensive instrument, and I also had it shipped from Iraq. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kadim. And Yauhen, we have you with us here today, coming from Belarus, and you do a lot of things. You're a podcaster. You're starting to create music. You have a podcast that covers Eurovision. That's a topic that a lot of Lithuanians are interested as well. And I feel like you're still experimenting and still searching for your medium, or you enjoy a lot of mediums. So can you tell more about where's your heart at now? Where's your creativity at now? And how did you achieve this point?
Yeah, so I left Belarus 3.5 years ago, and somehow my creative journey started actually in Vilnius, because before that I was just studying linguistics, so languages have always been some kind of a very important medium for me, like language as a thing, and I guess that kind of led to me starting this kind of creative journey. I guess it's the furthest from art properly, like compared to my colleagues on the stage. So, you know, podcasting is probably not considered art by most people. But yeah, I remember once, like some time ago, I was given a compliment. Well, some alcohol might have been involved, but I was given a compliment that whatever I speak about, it can be any sort of thing, like maybe something not interesting at all, but whatever I speak about, it becomes interesting. So yeah, and at some point I realized that, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, I want to express them, and I'm still looking for a way to express them, but sometimes, you know, the simplest way is to just speak your thoughts out and maybe record them and post them online, and some people will listen to it, so it has been working quite well for me. And yeah, I have created 3 podcasts. One of them is in Russian, 2 of them are in Belarusian, because also it's very important for me to promote any sort of content in Belarusian, because it is a very oppressed language, and mostly oppressed by the Belarusian government, which they cannot reach me right now, hopefully, so that's why I'm doing things that I do. And yeah. So, as you said, one of my podcasts is about Eurovision. It's the longest running project I have. With a friend of mine, we have been running it for around 3 years, more than 3 years now. So I started it in January 2021, so only 2 months after coming to Lithuania. And has been going stronger since then. And yeah, it's not only about Eurovision, but it's also a way for me to express my thoughts about many things, and some people get annoyed by that, so that, like, it's a podcast about Eurovision, why are you discussing politics all of a sudden? Maybe because it's a podcast about Eurovision. Yeah, and whenever I get some thoughts about stuff and I feel like I need to put them out there and maybe get some feedback from the world around, then I start just recording and having conversations with people, and you know, leaving them open for feedback. So that's it.
So just to clarify, one show is about Eurovision, and you have 2 other shows.
Yeah. So one show that I did last year for several months was about the Belarusian diaspora. Because, yeah, at that point I had been living in Lithuania for more than 2 years, and I know a lot of people who have lived in Lithuania and other countries and are from Belarus. and they have been living abroad for a long time. So when it comes to Belarusians, there is actually a separate culture now forming of Belarusians abroad because of how many people left the country after the 2020 presidential elections and the protests. There is a completely separate culture of Belarusians existing in Lithuania, in Poland, in other places where there is a huge diaspora. So it was very, important for me at that point, and still is important to discuss these things, because there are a lot of questions that people who are abroad and people who are still inside would like to ask each other, and it's not as easy as we are in the internet age. It would seem that it should be very easy for people from the inside of the country and from the outside to connect and to talk about those things. But then you remember that a certain part of Belarusians still lives under the oppressive regime, and it's, for example, I could not invite anybody who still lived in Belarus because they would probably get arrested like at the spot if they participated in any kind of project like that. So yeah, it was a very important thing. And currently I am with a friend of mine. We're kind of doing a, can I swear here?
I think you can. I don't think this is recorded.
So we're kind of, with a friend of mine, with a very close one, we are kind of doing a shitpost podcast about your relationship. So it's kind of not a very high quality content, but people listen to it and they like it. So I guess it works. So it's mostly talking about our relationships with romantic partners and how we are navigating all of that kind of stuff. So she is a queer woman, but mostly who interacts with men, and I'm as a queer man. So yeah, we kind of have the same interest, but very different perspectives on that. So kind of like that.
What are the name of these shows again?
Sorry?
The names of these shows for people to find?
Okay. So if you can understand and maybe speak, but primarily understand Russian, then the podcast about Eurovision is called Welcome Europe, but it's written in Cyrillic. So it's not in Latin, but in Cyrillic. Then if you understand Belarusian, maybe, well, I know there is one person who understands Belarusian in the audience, so...
I see there's one more.
Even two people, okay.
Is that the same person? No, that's
it's different,
one. Okay.
So two people. Okay, so my target audience is two people here. So if you are interested in listening to my last year's ramblings about Belarusian diaspora, then it's Jakie bez ciebie tut? And the... Okay, so the most recent one is called Nice Cock, but it's once again in Cyrillic, because that's kind of the topic I do. So that one is in Belarusian and Russian. So if you're able to understand both of these languages, then you are the target audience for that.
Thank you again. This is great. Katya, I want to come back to you. I didn't ask about the origins of your art. Like, how did you start painting, and how did moving to Vilnius and, of course, experiencing, basically becoming a refugee in these past 2 years, that must have affected everything that you create. I want to hear more about that. How did you start, and how could you compare what you're doing now with what you did when you started?
Okay, so I started doing my art in 2019. So it is almost 5 years ago, and I always dreamed to be an artist in my childhood, and I decided that that year will be like the year when I did or not did that. And I started to do it and continue to do it now, and how it changed before and after war, because I don't consider myself as a refugee. I thought about this definition of word, and I also thought and still thinking about why people name us as a refugee, because there are so many synonyms of that word. For example, relocated people, I don't know, removed people, people who fled from war, or like different kind of synonyms. But a refugee sounds for me like something stereotypical and I also felt on myself some stereotypical thinking how must look or must do a refugee. And when they met me, it was like unexpected because usually I don't feel myself as a refugee, and I don't want that people who I meet here in Vilnius or somewhere in Europe also don't consider me as a refugee, because I'm not only a person who fled from war or suffering of war. I'm also an artist, I'm a daughter, I'm a professional in another sphere. I don't know, just a person who like to walk, for example, do some things, and etc., etc. So have different roles. And like the turning point is not to be a refugee, but the turning point is like to live in the world where such huge war started. And it started not only in our country. I think so for nowadays many countries involved in that war, like physically only Ukraine, but like mentally and psychological, also like in Lithuania, Baltic countries, and all other countries that connects to NATO or another countries who support. We had a summit of peace a few days ago, and we thought like more than 80 countries come to support Ukraine, and thought and talk how we can found peace in Ukraine and finished war by victory of Ukraine. So for me, the turning point is war, not refugee status. And how my art was in like before war and now, I think now my art is more expressive, because that paintings that you saw on my Instagram was so much expressive, like I had never done it before, because I didn't have so much feelings inside of me, so different kind of feelings, and I couldn't like express it, because I didn't thought and felt that I can have it inside of me. So like it was very intensive for me to use such bright colors, to do it in such technique, because I made it with my fingers also, like I put my fingers in oils and just do it like that in a large canvases. And it is also was like a therapy process, as I said before, and also to refresh myself and let myself with art. So for now, I think that this mentoring program that Artscape help me and other my colleagues to find new wave of art. It is like a process of being more meaningful artist, because it is not about media for me, but about artistic mindset, how you can show your meaning, your idea in the best way. So I don't want to be just a painter or just a graphic art. I want to be like a multimedia artist, and want to be a person who can do that, and be flexible, not only in media, but also very flexible to different situations, to different places, to different peoples, to different cultures. And in that way, I think in Lithuania, Vilnius is the most is the best place for me, because Vilnius for me is like the most like freedom place, in Lithuania. That's why I choose where to go from that small city that I said, Druskininka, because Druskininka is a small city. You can be a foreigner, I don't know, for hundreds of years there. I don't know how you feel Druskininka, because you are locals. For you maybe it is some kind of refresh, but for me it was sometimes a suffering. Sorry.
I think people love to come to Druskininka for like a week, but
yes,
yeah,
but not to live there for 1 year.
and when it's not summer, that also matters.
Yes.
In terms of practicalities, do you have a studio? Do you have like a space to create art? Because one of the things I want to learn more about, like, is do you actually have means to do what you want to do? And that applies to all of us talking here. Like, as a painter, you basically need space, you need time, you need mental energy, you need some, I don't know, financial security, right? How do you feel that you can turn your art into like actually meaningful part of your life instead of just like a hobby while you do the things that you must do just to live?
Okay. So when I live in Druskininka, the only one thing that I really miss that I had an art studio there. I found a cultural center that's situated in Druskininka. I make cultural events there, and they also give me possibility of give me art studio, but not in Druskininka, but in the smaller city. Yes, there exist in this world the smallest, in the Palingis. But it was really good place for art studio. It was like very old, not very old, but like Sovietical style building, and I didn't have. I had possibility to do it everything that I want, so I had this possibility to make large art, to do brush strokes and make house and everything, not to think about how to be clean or like that. be as much artistic as I can. So.
But that was earlier, and now you're in Vilnius.
Yes, and so that times, yes, was with art studio, but here in Vilnius I don't have some additional place where I do paintings, where I can do such kind of paintings, but I did graphic art because it's like you don't have to need many spaces, like just a table and paper and inks and so on, so I can do it in my apartment. And sometimes I also do paintings, just put the canvas on a chair, bar chair. I have bar chairs, and use it for that. I don't know if I need now additional place, this art studio, because you correct about my energy level, so I don't have so much energy level sometimes to create art, because because I also have a job, my main job. I am a psychologist, and I work with Ukrainians also, and not only, but it is a part of the day, of the life, of energy. And sometimes when I had hard situations or too much consultations per day, per week, I want to do something another where I can take this energy. For example, I like to walk to Vingis Park to enjoy pine trees and feel the smell and watch on trees, and I like to go to visit museums, some exhibitions, to meet some friends, and what else, to read. I also like very read.
Yeah, wow, you're a
Yes, like
psychologist. I didn't know that. I'm glad you said that, and it sounds like a very tough job, especially if you work with other Ukrainians here in Vilnius. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Katya. And
Thank you.
Kadhim, I want to ask you a similar thing, actually. So, is there, do you have means to evolve as an artist here in Vilnius, which means that, yes, you need physical place, you need somewhere where you can play and no one will tell you, like, be quiet, but also you need mental space, you need just to feel good, basically, to create something. I feel for an artist, you need to kind of fight for that time, for that space to create. How is that going on for you? Do you manage to fight for it?
Well, as you said, like for a musician, because what I do is sound, and then especially at night, it's not possible. And like I don't know, during the day I am either doing like some tasks or like doing some work, and then at night it's kind of difficult, especially now when I have this sort of trio, and we're struggling with finding like place to
tell more about the trio. I think it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, I met a friend last year from Tunisia. He plays an instrument called qanun. It's like kanklis, but much more developed and complex. Yeah. And another friend, yeah.
Definitely not like a guitar.
Not a guitar. And I also met a friend from Iran, plays percussion, an instrument called def. Yeah, we met in Vilnius. Vilnius is a small city, which is great because like you meet lots of interesting people. Like you don't get lost. Like I was in Berlin and like you're nothing. Like you're a fish in a sea. Like, but here you can get noticed. You can build connections, and this is great for me. So the thing is, yeah, the trio is we're struggling with finding like a space or like at a convenient time because most of us are working and. My other friend works 2 jobs, so it's a bit difficult. Mostly we go to Martino Majvido Biblioteca, and they have like some sort of musical lab. You can like reserve it for 2 hours for free, of course. That's our kind of usual spot to rehearse. Wow. And
did you make any recordings with your trio?
Like we can record there, or you
yeah, like I don't know. Do you do your own music, or you play like music that's already existing?
Yeah, well, mainly we are performing that like pieces from like contemporary like composers, or even from folklore. And since we are like Iran, Tunisia, Iraq, it's kind of similar, I would say, music, similar culture. So like we came to like some sort of basic like mutual ground in terms of yeah, and this is great, you know, like this vast you know land from Iran, Turkey to Morocco has like share this kind of same culture, same values, you know. So yeah,
that's pretty fascinating. So you're 3 guys from Iraq, Iran, and Tunisia who found each other in Vilnius. You didn't know each other. How did you meet?
So I met Yusuf after the performance, the first performance last year, which gives me, that's why I'm very grateful to have these performances.
Is he here?
No, he's not here. Yeah, but that's why I'm grateful to have these performances with Artscape. Like, it's very empowering, and I'm glad. Like, I posted like a photo of my performance, gave me some credit, and then he saw my post, contacted me, and then we met, and it's been going on from there. Yeah.
And the third friend?
I usually post on foreigners in Vilnius. Yeah, so I post a lot of stuff, and I create many kind of public opinion about many like issues that I'm facing as a refugee and a foreigner in Vilnius. So many people actually approach me and like, hey, let's do some like let's jam, like let's do some music together. And I try to be inclusive and open to all of them, but because of work, so I try to manage all that. So I met my friend from Iran, and we have done 2 performances together. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I hope people here take notice that, because this is pretty unique what you're doing, and I feel like there's a lot of opportunities for you to perform. It's just that maybe people don't know that you do this, but yeah, that's why we're talking about it. Thank you, Kadim. Yauhen, as far as I understand, your work is mostly based in your apartment. You have a microphone, you have a computer. Are your co-hosts in Vilnius as well, like podcast co-hosts?
Well, it depends on the podcast because I have many. So, yes, the one about Eurovision, we co-hosted it with a friend whom I have known for almost 10 years now. I think this year will be the 10-year anniversary, and we met online actually when I just got into the whole Eurovision fandom, and I started meeting people online in general. For me, when I was a teenager, 10 years ago, it was quite normal to interact more with people online, just because I was not getting on well with people in real life for various reasons. So this is a person who lived in Moscow, which became a problem for many reasons, and I think the crisis point of our podcast was in 2022 when the war in Ukraine began, because of course both of us were vocally against it. However, since I already lived in Lithuania, so obviously there would be no repercussions for me expressing any anti-war opinion, which I think is a good thing. But he couldn't do that, and that's why we went on a rather long break, and we barely put out any content because it just didn't feel right to create any kind of entertainment content, because it is still entertainment, even though sometimes we get on serious topics. Like we had last year, one of our most popular episodes was on how Russia and the Russian government used Eurovision as a propaganda tool, which was a 2-part episode. Both of them were 2 hours. So there was a lot to say about it, and luckily my co-host was able to get out of Russia, and because we could not imagine continuing to do this work unless both of us could express support for Ukraine and not fear any persecution. So it was an important thing for us, just because both of us have always been anti-war, and both of us have been dissidents for a long time and have been expressing in my case, anti-Lukashenko opinions, in his case, anti-Putin and anti-Russian imperialism in general. So that's an important thing. But if we talk about the podcast about Belarusian diaspora, then it was basically, most of it was people I met in Vilnius, because in Vilnius the Belarusian community is quite large, at this point around 66,000 people, just citizens of Belarus who live in Lithuania, and most of them are concentrated in Vilnius. And I think it's important to understand that most Belarusians who went to Lithuania are either some sort of civil activists or political activists or political figures, or at least people who participated in political activities and protests. So majority of Belarusians in Vilnius are active, they have been doing stuff. So this kind of mentality stayed with us. And in Vilnius now there are many communities of Belarusians and many spaces for Belarusians to organize events, to communicate with each other. That's why we have very strong connections with each other in the city. So that's why the majority of people who I invited to the podcast about Belarusians abroad were from Vilnius, or not from Vilnius, but lived in Vilnius, because it was the easiest place for me to find guests. And since I had to find a new person for every episode, obviously it was a bit more difficult to produce a lot. As much as when you have a single co-host, it's much easier because you have the same chemistry all the time. It goes the same way all the time. But but Vilnius really helped me with being open to Belarusians because it was very easy to find a lot of guests still. And and also my friend with whom we are doing the third one about, relationships. Yeah. She has lived in Vilnius even longer than me. She's also Belarusian, so she came here also because there is a whole Belarusian university in Vilnius, so Europos Humanitarinis Universitetas. So EHU is also a good place to find connections, to find some people to do stuff with. So we met there because I studied there for 5 months, which I think was enough for that university, and well, in my opinion, very humble. And but we met there, and we have been friends ever since. And so I cannot imagine anybody else I could do this kind of content with.
Yeah, but so you produce a lot of words that you put online. Like, is this like a hobby, or is this a career for you at this point?
I hope it will become a full-time career at some point. Like in general, any creative work would be nice as a career. And you mentioned at the beginning that I also try to make music, and it is true. So this is something I have been developing, the skill I have been developing, and the skill I have been investing in. So hopefully one day it will also bring me some kind of not just joy but also income. With the podcast, yes, the Eurovision podcast has been bringing income for several years already because we opened Patreon, and people are willing to pay us just to support us and to also get some additional content. We have like a second podcast which is called OnlyFans, and I'm not sure if it's a good title for that, but nothing explicit there. But yeah, so it has been bringing some money, obviously not enough to live on, and I have to do a day job, and like also at the moment I'm in the middle of looking for a new job, so hit me up. But still, it's a very good thing that it has been providing some more support, some more income, because I never expected, like when I became a Eurovision fan 10 years ago, when I was still a teenager, I never expected that at some point me talking about it to a very good friend and putting it online would bring us any sort of money, but it's bringing us much more than we ever expected. So
amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
Seems effective.
Do we have questions from the audience? We can chat for a long time here, but we're not alone in this room. Maybe some of you know people in the panel. Maybe there's something we should know about their art that we haven't touched yet. Maybe you want to ask something. You can think about it. Oh yeah, I can share my microphone, and if you could just say your name and the question. Yep.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Justina, and there was an article recently about young people in Lithuania being the happiest in the world, and there was some confusion and controversy about it. So I wonder how foreigners in Lithuania, young foreigners in Lithuania, feel about this. Is this a good place to be young in?
That is a great question. Are you aware of that article? I think it was The Guardian. Yeah.
Well, I guess. I will just say that whenever I see this article, because I actually first saw not the Guardian article, but the actual research I saw, and I saw that Lithuania is on the top, I was like, oh, it must be worse everywhere else then. So that's the only thought I had. So yeah.
For me, I actually didn't read the article itself, but the title was just like, oh, really? I don't feel really, like, I don't know. There are some struggles, there are some, but it's definitely better than where I come from. I could say that, yeah. So I'm a little bit happy.
I haven't seen or read this article, but I was confused. Maybe you can make you happy to talk and connect to foreigners. That's why you can exchange your energy with another culture and other people, and it will also help you to be happy, and for us also.
Are there more questions? Yeah, we have one back there. I will pass you the microphone.
Okay, thank you. I'm Chris. My question is directed to, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, the one with the black t-shirt.
Me, Kadim.
Yeah. Kadim.
Yeah, unless if you speak Arabic, which would be Kadhim. So.
Okay, okay. Well, I want to ask that special instrument, what type of art do you play? Genre?
Like what genre of music, right?
Yes.
Well, I play Middle Eastern kind of contemporary and also classical music. This is what I like. So this instrument and the music, it's really popular in Turkey, in North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, and also in the Middle Eastern region. So for me, I like classical music. I like a bit of contemporary music, not all of it, but yeah, this is what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, the way you actually presented it makes me just...
sorry, I couldn't hear.
The way you presented yourself and your art actually made me to be interested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish we could hear it right now, but I think 3 days ago you played at Mo Museum, correct? And Katya, your multimedia art was exhibited there as well, so too bad we can. I mean, some people were there, so. Are there more questions from the audience, since I'm here already? If not, I'll be back, and I have one kind of big question for you all. Is that, so there's 3 of you here on the stage, but there could be many more people who are in Vilnius and who are creating something. And I know I spoke with Yeva, a colleague from Artscape, who helped to build this panel. And one of the interesting things was that not many people wanted to talk publicly about what they're doing, even though it's a very, I would consider, rather safe space with people who are supportive. But it seems that for various reasons, people maybe want to kind of stay private with what they're doing. And since you know more people in your community, your friends, would you say there are a lot of artists with refugee background from Vilnius that we should be aware of? And maybe we as Lithuanians, for example, someone like me, don't even have a clue that there are people in the city who are doing very great stuff, but maybe because of how the media works, maybe we just didn't have a chance to discover them yet. Maybe you can recommend some names. Katya, maybe we can start from you.
So do you want to hear some names or just in general?
Please do, yeah. Unless you want to, of course.
It is hard to say some names because only names that I know it is my colleagues from Artscape mentoringship, so probably they know about them more. But I think that if you go to some communities, for example, to Ukrainian community, we know each other and we know like in a small close groups that we are talking, and there are also some cultural, small cultural Ukrainian groups that can connect to each other. So in this case, I can like share some information about opportunities for artists or cultural workers, but how do they feel here and what they art, I know only in that cases that belongs to Artscape mentoringship, because we are not so close like to meet each other like very often and to know how they feel. So I can share only about my individual experience and my feelings.
Of course, yeah, and thank you for doing that. Kadim, in your case, are there friends of your people that whose art you saw and you would like to, for the audience to be aware of?
Well, I don't want to forget someone, or just to be safe. I mean, I know Karar Hassan. I saw one of his paintings last Thursday at the opening of the Refugee Week. I liked his painting. It was very erotic, and I liked it. Yeah, but I mean, I don't have I don't know, close connection with him. But from what I see, that maybe he kind of, I don't know, introvert or shy person that cannot, you know, I don't know, go in a discussion and probably just sit in front of people and talk. So I would mention his name.
Karar
Hassan.
Hassani.
Yeah, and I think he's part of, there's the mentorship program with Artiscape, and he's part of that. Yeah.
Nice.
And I had a comment about what Katya said
Sure.
about the word, using the word refugee. And
Sure.
I felt somehow at some point ashamed somehow, being a refugee, or there is this kind of, I don't know, disgrace around this word. But I think we owe it to ourselves and to our, I don't know, friends who are refugees, to all the refugees in the world and the displaced people. Like anyone in the, I don't know, at some point in the world needs refuge. It's not something, it's a human right. It's not something to be, I don't know, disgraced, or feel bad about it. It's just something natural, and with time, I found my peace with being a refugee, and I'm trying to present, as I said, to present a good image about refugees, and try to, yeah.
Katya, do you want to answer? No. Because I feel kind of talking about the same thing, right? I don't think there's a big disagreement here. It's just that there's that word there's a lot of things.
I mean, the one who should be ashamed is the governments, I don't know, Putin, even USA, what is doing to Iraq in 1991, 2003, creating all these conflicts, problems. These people should be ashamed of, not the refugees themselves. It's because the refugees are just people trying to live their lives, and then all of a sudden you have war, and you have internal conflict or something, and people are just trying to survive, or, yeah.
Yeah. Yauhen, same question I asked Katya and Kadhim. You mentioned there's a big Belarusian community now in Vilnius, and I feel like it became big very, in a short amount of time. And I feel like a lot of people who live in Vilnius maybe didn't have enough means to actually learn about this, the people who are in the city now. And maybe there are some initiatives, some artists that you think we should be aware of, and it's a chance to share that about their work.
Yeah, so I do agree that because of how quickly the Belarusian community grew here, and also because of how, I would say, isolated we are sometimes, even though we live in Vilnius, which is a very multicultural city, so it should be relatively easy to get in touch with also the locals, but it feels like we are still mostly in our own bubble, especially people who don't speak Lithuanian, which is the majority of Belarusians. And yeah, it can be difficult for us to integrate, not even societally, but culturally, and to actually interact with Lithuanians. So I do agree with that. And actually, so there's, I guess, one organization that has been the most successful in terms of actually being a bit more internationally oriented and not just Belarusian oriented, even though it presents itself as a Belarusian thing. It's mostly Belarusians there, but still, so it's create culture space. I suppose some people might have heard about it. And last week there was a festival by them in Petro Cvirkos Parkas, which made me very happy because it was actually targeted at Lithuanians So it was a Belarusian event, and there were Belarusian artists. So we went there with our little dance group. So we were demonstrating like Belarusian dances, and there was a Belarusian choir and a Belarusian band, and there was a Lithuanian band. So it was actually something multicultural, some kind of way for Belarusians and for local Belarusians and for Lithuanians to interact. So, and made me very happy because I also was invited to help with, communication between Belarusian-speaking people and Lithuanian-speaking people, because I just happen to speak both languages. And yeah, so that it makes me happy to see such kind of progress. So yeah, if you're interested in kind of interacting with the local Belarusian community, and you would like to visit one that is actually ready to, well, I guess accept is not the best word, but ready to interact with local people as well, then create culture space. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, wherever they have the website.
It's close to Rudninku Street.
Yes,
as
it's
far as
in
I know. Yeah.
Karmelitų gatvė.
Yeah, beautiful, actually very beautiful space and very open for people to come in.
Yeah, and it has a lot of art, it has a lot of just social activity, so whatever you prefer. So it's a very good way to get into this, Belarusian, but recent Belarusian culture, so of people who moved to Vilnius very recently. It's a very good way to start interacting with these people and with us, actually. I'm not disassociating with us and actually learn what we are about, because recently there has been quite a bit of animosity towards Belarusians in the media because of, our mistakes, but also not our mistakes because of, some other agenda. I think the best way to correct that would be to actually interact with us and see what most of us are about, which would be nice.
Yeah. Going to the end, I'm curious about some, I want everyone to leave this conversation with some ideas of what we all can do to have a stronger community, maybe to learn more about each other. Like, in your view, you as artists who are creating art here in Vilnius, what you would like, how would you like to improve the situation in the city? What we as listeners could do to, I don't want to use the word help, but the idea is to, for us to be less isolated. What you said, Yauhen, about you feeling kind of isolated as a Belarusian in Vilnius, I feel like that's a common experience for a lot of people who come here. How can we all help to break that? So, Katya, in your case, what could be helpful for you and for other artists that you know in Vilnius to improve your situation?
If I'm talking about myself, I think improving can be if we can have this some kind of spaces or topics where we can exchange each other and reach each other, like culturally, not only thinking about something uncomfortable and the same traumas that we had after the USSR and now from Russia. It is hard topics, but it is something that is going now, but something creative, something positive that we can do together as Ukrainian community, that Ukrainians and Lithuanians, for example, because if I'm talking about myself, for me it is really hard to find some friends or even close relationship with Lithuanians. I don't know why, but I tried so hard. So maybe this can help me and Ukrainian community how to find these points, these topics, these places, not only about just wondering how you are, but also to talk about how you live, what you like not even like small talks, but also like something where you can be more close to us, like that, because now I feel that I live, like you said, in my bubble with Ukrainians. I talk with Ukrainians that left in Kyiv, in my native town, native city, and here in Ukrainians who live there. So I feel still like I'm in Ukraine in that case, and it helps me to live. So of course I'm really glad that there are so many Ukrainians around me, and I can speak my language and can find my people. But also it is interesting. Who are you Lithuanians?
But this is interesting. I want to hear more about that. I want you to keep the microphone for a second, like, because on this, there's a general support for Ukrainians in Lithuania, like very nationally widespread. But what I'm saying on this very like human level, it's not that easy to find your people. Yes. Can you tell more about like?
Yeah,
some situations, what happened?
Yes, some example. For example, if I ask some Lithuanians how to help me, for example, how to find a library, how to do some documents, like task, they 100% do everything how to help me, and it's like very helpful, and I'm really grateful, and it is like amazing thing. But for example, I have my neighbors near my apartment, and I said to them good morning every time, and they never say me the same. like that. And I say good morning, I say labarita, labas, and everything that I know, but it doesn't help. But how I can find connection if you never say hello even?
I can assure you that it's not personal. You did nothing wrong. You have a question? It doesn't mean they don't like you. There was a question here. Can I share a microphone? No? Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Anna. Thank you for sharing these interesting insights. I was wondering, because Yauhen, you have a community. Katya, you have a community. Kadim, do you have a community? I would believe there's less people from Iraq here. Is there a wider community, especially? And I was also wondering, because there is this beautiful create culture space, is there a space for you that is similar important, let's say, or a space where you can relate to in that sense?
Well, for me, I am an Arab, so I don't have only Iraqis. I have Syrian friends, I have Lebanese friends, I have, so like, yeah, I have my community, and I'm also trying to use my music, it's my agenda, to also, like, kind of create this feeling of belonging, like, okay, you are away from Syria or Iraq or whatever, but you can also feel home in this, like, new place. I do, but I also can relate to Katya's experience, and I posted something as well on Vilnius, foreigners in Vilnius, and it was about trying to say hello to people. This is in our culture, like we are, and like when we say hello to someone on the street, or like someone standing, I don't know, at the entrance of the building, and you just, it doesn't feel right to just pass by these people and say, like, as if they were just a column or like something doesn't exist.
It does.
That
was a joke.
Yeah. So, but I found like many well, Lithuanians were saying, like, don't, like, who are you to bring your culture to Lithuania? But like, why not? We can select what is a good value from any culture. Like we tend, like, as, okay, let's say as Europeans, we tend to, I don't know, try to select, okay, yoga and bring something from, but why is it bad to select some good values from Arab culture as well, which is greeting others? And when I'm saying hello, it's not like, yeah, it's not like I'm like expecting anything from the other person. It's just being a human. Yeah, yeah.
Yauhen, what's your situation with your neighbors?
Yeah, so because they never reply to my Sviki or Labadina or whatever, I started avoiding them because it's awkward, because I want to say hello, but they do not reply, so I'd rather not meet them at all. So yeah, I do agree that, yeah, just start with saying hello when somebody says hello to you, I don't know. Also, please don't stand in front of the doors of the bus when they open, because it's very annoying. I don't understand why Vilnius is like that. I've never seen that before.
People are afraid that the bus will go without them. You have to stay in the bus.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, but what was the original question? Because you asked how should Lithuanians kind of approach foreigners?
Like how can we improve Vilnius to become more like just a space where we can actually feel more like a community? And yeah, you just mentioned simple things, just say hi to each other. But maybe there are, you have some ideas. Maybe we need some initiatives. Yeah, anything you want to share?
I mean, I would say that there are already things going on that do help with that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, there's this bar in Vilnius, Šnekutis, that hosts like international meetings. It's already a good start, so why not? Like, just come to them at least. Then it will go on, and you will meet people from everywhere, because there are quite a lot of people. I think at this moment there are around 300,000 foreigners, like foreign citizens living in Lithuania, which is it's half of Vilnius basically. So I think, yeah, just whenever you see an opportunity, and if you feel like you have the resources, and not just money, but like in general mental resources to participate and like to open up to somebody, because it is more difficult. I don't want to sound like whiny, but I think it is a bit more difficult for us to approach you than for you to approach us, because we don't feel like, even if we have lived here for a long time, we don't feel completely at home. We don't feel like we know all the rules. We sometimes don't know how to act. I'm from Belarus, Katya is from Ukraine, so we are more similar maybe. But still, there are some differences. We don't know everything, and we will not know it unless somebody tells us. And I guess, it would be nice to see more initiative from Lithuanians to come to our spaces. Yeah, so not for us to try to like grab a Lithuanian from the street and put it into a Belarusian community or something for them to, but yeah, for locals to make some effort, which maybe is a bit entitled, but just saying that it is more difficult for us to do it because we don't know where to even begin sometimes. And I think people who have lived here for all of their life, or who have lived in this country for all of their life, it's just more intuitive for them. So I guess use your intuition more.
Okay, and talking about the art scene, like, do you feel like you part of the Vilnius art scene? Do you make connections to the art scene? Maybe we can start from artistic community and then go further. Yeah,
I could, because I have never been here before, but obviously because a lot of my creativity is just online based, so I interact with people from all over the world, and they don't necessarily have to be in Vilnius. Some of it is based in Belarusian spaces because I already know people there. It's easy for me to get connections there. But I have participated in some art projects in Vilnius and went to cultural events in Vilnius that were targeted at locals, at Lithuanians. But yeah, it's just more difficult for me to find them because I don't even know where to begin sometimes. So I know that there's Facebook events, but I don't use Facebook, so I'm like not much opportunity for me to find something like that, unless I'm just very lucky and somebody whom I already know offers me something. It's usually like that. I almost never am able to find something myself.
Yeah. And Kadhim, how it was for you? Like, did you managed to make some connections in Lithuanian music scene with artists outside of what's called Foreigners in Vilnius network?
Well, I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to find I don't know, a violinist, or to make my band bigger. Like, I don't know, it's still a bit challenging. The difference of the genre of the music that I'm playing, it's still difficult, but I'm working on that, and also, well, for me, I think I don't want to be arrogant, but music is it's a universal language. Like you don't need yeah. So like many people like Lithuanians come to my event, and like they are interested, and I like that. They are interested. They are supportive. They want to hear this. I don't know, this new thing, new kind of music. Well, it's not new, but in Lithuania,
it's
yeah,
very old.
Relatively, yeah, in Lithuania. So I think that's my way of trying to get more connections to and people, they come to me, so I don't try, like, I create an event, or like mostly there are some initiatives with some, I don't know, NGOs, or so, yeah, people just come and
Yeah,
enjoy.
you're right. Music, it's easy to invite people when there's music. And Katya, I want to finish with you. Did you get any luck reaching out to other artists, feeling like you're part of Vilnius visual art community?
When I think about this question, if I feel a part of Vilnius scene or Lithuania scene, I'm thinking about that whenever I will be, or now I'm here, I will also be a part of Ukrainian scene, but outside of my country or inside of my country if I move back someday. So it's not connects to physically situation, it more connects to your inside, what ideas you share and what meanings you put in your artwork. So I hope that my art will influence on Vilnius to artists that that I met here, and people also that come to my exhibitions or watch my art. So this is how we can also share and exchange. I share my art, my Ukrainian vision, a part of my Ukrainian roots, and what I feel today about nowadays topics, but also what you feel, what is your feedbacks when you watch on my art.
I see the rain. Rain is gone, which means that we can go outside again. Thank you so much, Katya, Kadhim, and Yauhen, for being so open, for being so funny, for being so humble. I really hope that people in this room will check your art, and that this is just a beginning, really, for your chapter in Vilnius. And really glad talking to you, and I wish you best of luck in your future creative work. Thank you so much for Artscape people to organizing this all. And now let's enjoy this beautiful Sapiagu space while we're still here. Okay.